what is your idea? What is the role of, in case if I ask you in terms of percentage, what role do your soft skills, interpersonal skills, and your communication skills play in your personal and professional success? Any idea?
Well, around 70 to 80%, ma'am.
Oh, very, 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 very close. What about others? What do you say? What do others say?
I think we will agree with Dr. Urvashi because starting from talking to anyone, from the news vendor to any servant, or coming to the office and dealing with many types of people, at every level, whenever we are communicating, the soft skills do play a role.
Absolutely.
How the final result would
this
be.
has been so well validated by a study by Harvard University, Stanford University, and Dale Carnegie Institute, that 85% of your personal and professional success comes from your communication and interpersonal skills. Incidentally, honestly, we do not consider it very important. In terms of the investment of time and energy, it's just 25% of what is required in terms of the investment of time and effort. Therefore, I think most of us, in spite of being in the best of our abilities, we are not able to really do so well just because we lack those skills that helps us grow in life. So today's session is all about your communication with your students, because you are mentors, you are teachers, you are guide to your students, then with your fellow colleagues and also with your higher authorities. So that's the topic that we are going to, discuss today. And I would request you to attend the program with open mind, with a lot of enthusiasm, because this is not just for your responsibility in the hospital or in the college with your students that you're going to learn, because communication and interpersonal principles are universal. So whatever you will learn here at this point, it's equally applicable in your personal life when it comes to dealing with your family members, with your children, with your friends, with your classmates, with anybody and everybody. So, I mean, thoroughly enjoy the session, ask as many questions as you want, and I'm not here to teach you any theory, because I believe in the philosophy of Socrates, who says that I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make you think. And I honestly believe in that philosophy. And you will see my whole session is all about, I can just help you think and, take your attention to important areas of interaction, what sometimes we do not probably realize how important they are. That's the idea. So just before we start, I want to give you the technological reminders that I request all of you to follow. And that will be followed by introduction of the participants. We'll keep the introduction to just 1 minute introduction. So please be sure that whatever you want to talk about yourself should be less than a minute. And I'll tell you the importance why I'm asking you to keep it, less than 1 minute. There's a reason for that. So I'll first share the couple of reminders that I want all of us to remember and follow. I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So first of all, I would request all to keep the keep the gallery view so that you can see everybody. So if you will keep it at a gallery view, it will be more like, we are sitting in person with each other. So keep your device on the mute mode unless you're speaking, because there can be noise around you and that can cause disturbance. So you can unmute, speak, and then put the device on mute mode. Keep your video on throughout the session. Only when you're moving or changing place, then you can stop the video. But otherwise, please keep your video on, because it's an interactive session. So it's not like webinar or somebody talking and everybody listening. If there's any message in the chat box, please respond. If you want to give some message, you are free to give any message in the chat box. You can ask questions. Only thing is, we will have to keep the time frame in mind. So time frame is, we have like around 2 hours time. So if I wish to cover the whole topic, say in 2 major areas, one is how do you interact with the students, and the second is how do you interact with your fellow colleagues and your higher authorities. So maybe we will spend, say, around 45 minutes on the discussion about about the interaction with the students, and then 45 minutes for interaction with your higher authorities and your fellow colleagues, and then 30 minutes I wish to keep for a role play and also discussion about the questionnaire that I gave you. And I hope everybody has the scores with them, the scores of the questionnaire that I had sent.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody who does not have, please write no in the chat box so that I know who all have not done their questionnaire. Please write no in the chat box if you have not done your questionnaire. Sanal, that's okay. That's fine for you because it was sent to the team. That means rest everybody has done? Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm happy that everybody is ready with their scores. Okay, so some of the ground rules I think we will keep in mind that please speak for yourself when you are talking and be mindful of others, because the whole idea is to learn communication and interpersonal skills. So whatever we say should not hurt others or should be, disturbing anybody. A lot of time we'll be discussing things that may be very, very confidential. So what is said in the room stays in the room. It should not be discussed later on or should not be used, for any purpose. So keep yourself engaged and, in the program. That will only happen if you are not multitasking, if you're keeping your camera on. Have a copy and a pen with you because there will be some activities that we'll be using for. And also there will be a couple of points maybe you would like to make note of. And in case if there's an urgent call, if you really need to take, please keep it very, very short and switch off your video when you're taking a call, because it doesn't look good if you're talking on the phone and others can see you talking. So everyone has experience communicating and we are all here to learn communication. So we have to give space to everyone and chance to everyone to speak. Even when we are talking about the feedback, the focus has to be on the strength and being specific and being non-judgmental. So trust is earned and it takes time, because I know we are meeting for the first time, but I'm sure after this session, you'll definitely have more trust and the future sessions will have, far more participation and far more, interaction. And it takes time. I completely understand and I accept that. So quickly, I'm going to share my introduction and I'll keep it less than 1 minute. So similarly, I'll request everybody to keep their introduction to less than 1 minute. And I'll pass the baton to the next person, and the same person can pass the baton to the next person so that you nominate whom you want to ask to speak about themselves. So if I give you my introduction, as I said, that I don't believe in teaching anything to anybody because I know that's not practically possible. The only way to actually, help others to learn is to make them think. And that's what I'm going to use as a technique with all of us, because you are all educated professionals, adults. So adults have a very different way of learning and I'm going to follow that rule. Okay, about my introduction, I am Dr. Indu Armeja. I'm a practicing psychologist and founder director, Indian Institute of Healthcare Communication. So I'm associated with a lot of organizations. At the same time, I conduct programs, independent programs for various hospitals. I've done around 1,500 to 2,000 programs for around 100.
AIIMS से कोई राहुल आया आपको इनवाइट करने के लिए शायद कन्वर्सेशन के लिए।
Can you please mute it? Give me a chance.
Sorry, ma'am. Yeah, it would be Dr. Pankaj, I think.
I'll mute.
If you could mute, sirs.
Yeah. So I'm muting everybody for the time being. Okay. So, and then I have been doing such, programs across the country, and that's what has brought me to AIIMS Jammu. This is in nutshell about me. I did write a book on fundamentals of clinical communication that may be of interest to you because you are all teaching medical students. This is a book I have purely written for the medical students because of my, experience of working with Maulanas at medical college as one of the faculties teaching healthcare communication for the last almost 10 years. So we have done around 100 programs in the last 10 years. And as a result, I had a feeling that students require something written in the Indian context. And this is what, has come up. This is last year's publication. I mean, if you are interested, I would ask you to, grab a copy of this book and go through, because it covers almost everything that you really need to teach to your medical students. So go ahead and, catch a copy of this. Okay, so I would pass the baton to Uditi. I would request Uditi to introduce herself. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Uditi Gupta. I am currently working as assistant professor in the Department of Physiology. And before this, I have been trained during my MBBS period at JRMC College, Gwalior, which is also my hometown. And then I moved to AIIMS Delhi, where I did my MD in physiology as well as senior residency. As far as the life philosophy goes, I try to filter out the good content from every person and situation. And I always believe that there is a lot more thing to learn from everyone and within my subject. So a constant growth is what I look forward to. And as far as looking in other people, I try to be less judgmental and try to see their perspective. And this is a very important program, because I feel that there are a lot of skills that I need to polish, and I lack a lot of skills as far as soft skills and communication is concerned. So thank you very much for giving us this talk.
Thank you, Dr. Uditi. So whom would you like to nominate next to speak?
I would nominate Dr. Ishani to kindly present herself.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Dr. Ishani, presently working as assistant professor in the Department of Pathology, AIIMS Jammu.
Dr. Ishani, there is echo at your side. Maybe there are two devices in the same area.
Yes, ma'am.
So are you and Dr. Shivani are sitting in the same room?
No, ma'am, me and Dr. Ritika.
See, constantly we are reminding everyone to sit separately, because when two devices are at one place, there will be echo. So I would request all of you to,
Ma'am, I'll just shift to another place and get back.
Yeah, I think it's okay. You can introduce in a while, but
Yes,
first of all, make yourself comfortable. Yeah, one of you can move. Any one of you can move.
Okay, now, so I would request Dr. Pankaj to kindly introduce himself. Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Pankaj, please unmute your device.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I did my PhD from King George Medical University, Lucknow. After that, I involved in teaching as an assistant professor at AIIMS Nagar. Then I joined here in Department of Biochemistry as assistant professor, and here I'm working since 6 months. So I'm very keen, very interested to learn to communication, because communication is everywhere, whether it is a formal, whether it is informal, whether in teaching, whether in research. So communication is very important aspect of our life. So I'm very keen, very interested to this session.
Thank you, Dr. Pankaj. I think that's such a good thing that you are interested to learn. That's so important. Yeah.
Yes.
So whom would you like to pass the baton?
Dr. Shani, you can continue.
I think, okay. So Dr. Ishani and everyone, a humble request to you, keep your introduction very, very short, because we are short of time and we have already lost almost like 20 minutes. So keep it very short, but I want to know each one of you. Thank you so much, Dr. Ishani. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Dr. Ishani, working in Department of Pathology as assistant professor. Before that, I have done my MBBS from Jammu only. And for my MD, I moved to Dehradun. And I'm really looking forward to this session, because soft skills are very important in day-to-day communication. I think with everybody, right from the person who comes for your help to your patient, to your director, to everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Ishani. Thank you. So whom do you want to nominate after you?
Ma'am, I'll nominate Dr. Ritika.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Dr. Ritika Meena. I'm also working as an assistant professor in the Department of Pathology. And I'm very glad I got an opportunity to be here. And I feel privileged to be participating in this session. Really forward to looking new things because this will help in my day-to-day life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ritika. So whom do you nominate?
Dr. Shivani.
Yes, Dr. Shivani, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I am Dr. Shivani Gandhi, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Pathology. Before this, I did my MBBS and MD from Jammu only. And as we all know, communication is going to be a very important skill for interaction with students or friends or faculty members. So I hope this section is going to be a very informative and very interesting for all of us. Thank you, ma'am.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Shivani. So whom do you want to nominate?
Ma'am, Dr. Archana.
Dr. Archana, if you may unmute your device and introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Archana, working presently as KP in ENT department at AIIMS Jammu. Before this, I completed my undergraduate and postgraduate courses both from GMC Jammu. After that, I did my SRship from Calcutta National Medical.
I'm really sorry. I think there's some major network issue at your end, Dr.
I
Archana.
think
we could not hear anything. At least I could not hear anything. Is there some network issue at your end?
And meanwhile, maybe
no, ma'am. Am I audible?
Kind of, yes, but in between there is a, yeah. Dr. Uditi, you want to say something?
No, if Dr. Archana is still online, then she may continue. Otherwise, we can move on to.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible now.
Without losing time, good afternoon, everyone. It's a privilege to be here, working here at AIIMS Jammu as an assistant professor in ENT. Before this, I've completed my education, basic education from GMC Jammu only, and worked in Calcutta National Medical College as an SR. I am definitely looking forward to this improvement in skill and soft skills of communication, because all of us need to learn how to bridge the gap between what was said and meant and what was heard and what was understood.
Absolutely. I think you have reared it on. And this is what actually happens. The biggest illusion is that we think communication has happened. Actually, it has not. I think that's stated by Bernard Shaw. That's the biggest illusion, that we think communication has happened. And I think a lot of communication, although that's not something we are going to discuss in the program, but communication is the major reason for the medical errors in patient care. 60 to 70% of the errors that happen in patient care are because of the communication failure. That's the major, and most of the violence and litigation is also because of the communication failure from our end. And that's very, very important. I completely agree with Dr. Archana. Okay, Dr. Archana, whom do you nominate to speak, please?
Dr. Anand.
Dr. Anand, I'm not able to see his name.
Good afternoon. Anand, are you there? Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone.
So if I may request Dr. Anand and everyone, for that matter, please keep your camera on. If you're not visible to me, I will not be able to interact with you. So you will be just passively listening. The first thing that I request everyone, please sit at your place and have your camera on.
Sorry for this, ma'am. Actually, my camera is at fault. So I won't be able to video cast me. I mean, there is some glitch. I'm trying to fix it, but meanwhile.
So maybe what I will request that you switch off, log out and sit with somebody after your introduction. Sit with somebody. Two of you can sit in one. Although normally I don't, advise that, but then it's better than not being visible.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Ma'am, I'm assistant professor in the Department of Physiology, and why I like to join this program is because we are actually at a juncture where we are reversing the role. At the earlier time point, we were learners. We were learning from our teachers. Now we ourselves are teachers, and we are going to teach. So a communication skill is very much required at this point of, this juncture. So I think it will help me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. So whom do you nominate after you to speak?
Dr. Hemant?
Yeah, Dr. Hemant, please go ahead. I think you're on mute mode, or no, your audio is not connected, Mr. Hemant, Dr. Hemant. Your audio is not connected. You will have to log out, log in, and when you log in, it asks, do you want to connect through Wi-Fi audio? Then you have to say yes, or device audio. Meanwhile, can I request somebody else to complete the introduction? I think Dr.
May I request Dr. Urvashi?
Dr. Urvashi and Dr. Pranay and Dr. Geeta. Yeah, there are a couple of people who need it. Yeah, please go
Good
ahead.
afternoon, ma'am. I am Dr. Urvashi Kotwal. I am working here as assistant professor in the Department of Transfusion Medicine and Blood Bank. I've done my MBBS and MD from GMC Jammu only. And I'm really looking forward to attend this session because what I feel is communication and soft skills, they are the essence of life nowadays. And this is also my area of interest because being in the blood bank, we are generally involved in speaking to the people, general public. So this is how we sort of learn also. Thank you so very much.
Absolutely. Although we are not going to discuss the communication with patients, that's altogether a different area, but definitely some of the nitty-gritties of communication that we will discuss here can definitely be implemented in any sphere of life. So I'm sure this session will help you. Thank you. So whom do you nominate? I think Dr. Hemant is back with his voice, so we can request Dr. Hemant to introduce.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Dr. Hemant, please go ahead. You can unmute your device.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah, ma'am. Good afternoon. Myself, Dr. Hemant Kumar Kanwar. I did my undergraduation from Government Medical College, Chhattisgarh. Then I did my PG from Bardhaman Mahavir Medical College and Subbank Hospital. Then I did my senior residency from AIIMS Delhi. Before coming here, I was assistant professor in my same place, my native institute, Government Medical College, Bilaspur, for 10 months. Then I am here in the Department of Forensic Medicine.
Wonderful.
Assistant professor. In my view, learning is a continuous process. There is no age for learning and no means from whom we can learn. I hope this session will teach lots of things which will be valuable for our future. And
absolutely. Yeah. I think I have come prepared with the same idea. So hopefully it will be a wonderful discussion with all of you. Thank you so much, Dr. Hemant. So whom do you want to nominate?
I would like to nominate Dr. Natasha.
Yes, Dr. Natasha, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I am Dr. Natasha Gupta. I am working as assistant professor in the Department of Ops and Gynae. Ma'am, basically, I have been attracted to this course because I'm a novel faculty member since past 6 months only. And so we are in contact with many of the colleagues with different natures and personalities. And secondly, being a clinician, we have to deal with many emergency situations in which we require to explain the situation in a short time. So I think I'll be benefited by this course in the end of the course. So thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Natasha. I hope your expectations will be fulfilled through this session. Thank you. Sure. So whom do you nominate?
Ma'am, I'll nominate Dr. Geeta.
Yes, Dr. Geeta, please go ahead.
Dr. Natasha, and good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Dr. Geeta. I have joined as assistant professor in AIIMS Jammu since 2 months, and I'm from JNT only. And in my opinion, communication skill, a good communication skill is when we understand the meaning of the ideas, but we want to say or what any other in front of us want to say, and if we understand that thing properly, and if the purpose of that idea is solved, that is, I think, a good communication that can be in any language, in any science, or any ideas or any gesture. Thanks.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there are some good news you'll get to see. Their language is absolutely no barrier, and still you can communicate. We are going to talk about that. We are going to definitely talk about that. Yeah. So who all are still left? So whom do you nominate, Dr. Geeta, after you to speak?
Who else is left? I think
Dr. Pranay has not.
Yes,
Yeah.
Dr. Pranay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone, and heartiest welcome to Indu ma'am for joining with all of us for this quintessential training on communication skills, which is definitely very important to the success of the organization also. As ma'am has already said that 60 to 70% of the clinical errors, they are due to the lack of there is some sort of lack in the communication, and that comes more important for me because ma'am, I am from the Department of Hospital Administration. So I'll just introduce myself. I am Dr. Pranay Mahajan. I am working as assistant professor in the Department of Hospital Administration with AIIMS Jammu. I have done my MBBS from Maharashtra. Then I did my post-graduation from PGI Chandigarh. That was in Hospital Administration Department. And my last posting was as Joint Director in the Regional Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization of North India, that is Roto North. Definitely, ma'am, because I belong to a discipline where we have to communicate with the people in a different way, and I do understand that both the types of communications, that is the verbal and the non-verbal communication, are very important for, especially in our domain also. So I'm looking forward to a very enriching experience with you. Thank you, ma'am.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Pranay. So I hope everyone has introduced, or anybody who is still left. Okay, so going ahead with
Dr. Khalid has joined. I am not sure if he's still there or not, but if Dr. Khalid is present, I would request sir to kindly introduce.
Yes, Dr. Khalid. Yes.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Okay, good. Yes, yes. Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah.
We are in touch since January, but we were not able to formalize this.
I know a lot of hard work you and Dr. Diti has done. I would congratulate you for
so
all
many
the patience.
issues, but ultimately we succeeded to start this program. I'm looking forward to learn so many things related to communication from you and my colleagues. Welcome. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you so much. I think a lot of hard work has gone in for this program. I think you should all thank Dr. Khalid and Dr. Uditi for their relentless effort to, make this program happen. Of course, I know Dr. Shakti Gupta has been in the background motivating them, but then, actual action has been really taken by them. And they've really made a lot of effort for this program to happen. And I assure you that your efforts will not go waste, and you will be happy that you actually put in the efforts to make this program happen.
Thank you.
So,
can I open?
Oh, yes, please.
Yes.
Please, so light your camera off.
My camera from my side is on. I don't know why I'm not there, but the people that do not want to see my picture.
Oh my goodness. We thought you have decided not to be seen.
Okay, so thank you so much for your time. Actually, I can understand that in spite of being busy schedule at US, so you're able to be spare time and associated with this program actually, and I'm looking forward that I can assure you that my faculty is an excellent actually. They are good communicator also. They are very brilliant in their specialty in their fields. But I feel that communication is such an important area that still even at my age or my position, we need to actually know much more about the communication, how to talk, how it improves the personality actually. And we want that our doctors should be totally, our faculty should be totally different than any other faculty from medical colleges or any other institute. So looking forward that surely all my faculty will be benefited, not only faculty, but all category of people who are going to attend this program. And I'll keep myself actually mute, and so that simultaneously my work keeps on, but I will be with you actually in this program.
Absolutely.
Thank you
So
so
much.
much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking the initiative. And I know your intentions to really upgrade your staff skills to give their best and to do their best. And I can see all of them seem to be really looking forward to the program. That really gives me a lot of energy. So for me to get up at 3:30 in the morning and get ready, and at 4 o'clock being in front of the camera, see, right now in US, it is 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock in the morning. So I got up at 3 o'clock, and then by 4 o'clock, I was ready and sitting in front of the camera. But for me, I mean, if I can see this enthusiasm in all of you, it gives me immense pleasure to do this program for all of you. And I'm sure it will be a great success. I assure you, we'll have a wonderful discussion. Thank you so much, sir, for being there. Thank you. Always, always. Yeah. So friends, not wasting much time, I think we'll first focus on our communication with students. I think being faculty, that's one of the most important thing that we really need to be aware of. What am I supposed to be doing as teacher? As one of you very honestly admitted that all this while we were students, so we were learners and we didn't have the responsibility of teaching anybody. But now by virtue of your position, now you are teachers and you have students in front of you. And if you recollect last 15 years that you have done your graduation and post-graduation and then senior residency, as a student, what all have you gone through and what you expected from your teachers? I think that's something is going to be the best reminder for you to remember what I really need to be as a teacher to my students. But there is a slight twist in this story. First of all, if I may ask all of you, what challenges are you facing in handling today's generation? So I'm sure by now you have interacted with your MBBS Prof 2, because now they're in Prof, they have already crossed Prof 1, and there are already students in Prof 1. So if I may ask you, please write in the chat box, what challenges are you experiencing in interacting or handling or communicating with today's students? Please write in the chat box. Very nice. So I think I've started receiving the answers. The first answer is by Dr. Aditi. It's difficult to make them open up to us. Absolutely. I think that's one challenge we are experiencing. Then Dr. Ritika says few students feel that they are overconfident and they are not ready to learn new things. Absolutely. I think this is another challenge we are all facing. Dr. Urvashi says, in my opinion, forming a good rapport with students is a difficult thing nowadays as they have very high expectations. Wonderful. Then how to be assertive and yet friendly is a challenge. I agree, Dr. Aditi, that's perfectly fine. Dr. Khalid says the biggest challenge for me was to interact with too many students and their parents and guardians during the counseling and admission process, and to liaison with Ministry of Health and Family AIIMS New Delhi and AIIMS Rishikesh as our mentor institute. So I completely understand Dr. Khalid, but that's probably a situational problem. What I am looking forward is in person when you are interacting with your students as teachers, as mentor. So like all others are saying that it is difficult to build rapport, it is difficult to make them open up, then it is difficult to inspire them to be self-directed. And then in today's technology-driven era, Dr. Pranay has written that in today's technology-driven era, all students have a parallel guru, the Google guru, and at times it becomes difficult to convince them with the actual logic, especially on this spot. We need tips on being smart communicators at such instances. Absolutely, I think you are spot on when you are saying this. The challenge was to handle the volume of communication. Yes, Dr. Khalid, I understand as an administrator, a lot of things you have to really handle. Then discipline and value of time is lacking sometimes, and that becomes a challenge. I think, I mean, you have given wonderful, real life issues that you are all facing as teachers, and how do you really go about handling this? So if I may ask you another question, why do you think we are experiencing these challenges? Can you think of the reasons why we are experiencing these challenges? If you write in the chat box, that will be really nice. Think and answer, why do you think we are experiencing these challenges? So Dr. Hemant says students nowadays are fearless. There is no fear of failure or anything. I agree with you. I agree with you, and I'll tell you the reason behind it, and then probably you will really understand why is this change we can see in them. Okay, so Dr. Pranay says continued training is required of the teachers. But of course, I agree that we really need to upscale our skills in handling these students. But what is the change in the students, you say, category, or in their mindset, or in their overall philosophy of life? Dr. Uditi says, generally we are becoming too independent for information. Interpersonal communication is on the decline with the advent of technology. Yes, that's a change that we can see. Yes, definitely. Dr. Ishani says, so they don't necessarily feel the need to see us as a guide. Okay. No, this was by Dr. Uditi. So Dr. Ishani says the students feel they are independent and they can handle every situation themselves. Absolutely. Generation gap and easy access to technology, lack of empathy and communication. This is what Dr. Urvashi says. Wonderful. I think, again, a lot of changes and reasons we have been able to identify. And if I give you my perspective, how many of you know that you're dealing with Generation Z? How many of you are aware of the fact that you're dealing with Generation Z? Any idea what is Generation Z?
Oh, ma'am.
Generation Z.
Only in passing, ma'am. Just the term, but we don't know the term.
Let me say, oh, these are millennials, or these are Generation Z. But actually, Generation Z is the outcome of whatever we all have done. So the technological changes and the global changes, all that has brought in this generation. Very honestly, whatever they are doing, it's less of their fault, and they are more of a victim of the situation. If they are exposed to technology, it's not their fault. If they are exposed to internet, it is not their fault. Think of your childhood. Think of your adolescence. So whatever you had as something that parents did not allow. I remember when I was young, there was an issue with me wearing pants. My parents were not okay with the idea of me wearing pants, but I wanted to wear pants. Or there was an issue me driving scooter. I'm 60 years, so you can well imagine, I'm talking about good 45 years ago. A girl driving a scooter was something impossible. So it was a challenge, but I wanted to drive, and I used to ride scooter. So same way at your age, I'm sure you must have had things that you wanted to do and your parents didn't want you to do, but you still did. Same way, this is Generation Z. If you really want to connect with them, you just need to understand every lock has a key. There is no lock in the world without key. Only thing is, we need to understand what that lock is and what is the key. So some of the characteristics of Generation Z or millennials that will help you understand what is their mindset or what is their makeup. Let me share a screen and just one slide, because I'm not going to use much of slides, but I'm going to tell you about the qualities of millennials or Generation Z. First is their intuitive knowledge of technology. And just don't look at your students. I think some of you are already parents. Even if you have a kid of, say, in an age group of 5 to 10 years, because I can see most of you are very, very young. So your kids may not be like my kids who are married and who have kids. But again, you will have kids in the age group of 5 to 15. They are from the same generation. So they already are tech savvy. They're born with, intuitive knowledge of technology, because their parents are always on phone, on TV, on Netflix, on internet. So they have a lot of knowledge of technology. Very often you will see them challenging the status quo. And a lot of you said they're overconfident. They don't respect us like teacher. They don't treat us like teacher. They don't consider that we can guide them. They think they have a Google guru. They can get every answer from Google guru. I completely agree. A lot of doctors fear, I'm talking about the doctors fear that artificial intelligence is going to replace medicine. I say that's absolutely impossible. Artificial intelligence is to aid us. The human touch will always, always, always have an upper hand over everything. Similarly, nobody can replace guru. Google guru can never replace guru. The warmth, the connection, the love, the relationship that you can connect with your students. Do you think Google can do that? Do you think artificial intelligence can do that? Absolutely no. But yes, the way of handling them will have to be altogether different. I'm going to talk about that. So you will see them very often not agreeing with what we blindly accepted. We never had courage to ask, why should I do this? How can you ask me to do this? Are you doing this? I don't think as children we ever asked our parents. Even you may have not asked ever. But these kids at home, if not in college, they will be asking you, Mummy, aap to karte nahi, aap mujhe keh rahe ho karne ke liye? Papa, aap to hari sabjiyan khate nahi, aap mujhe hari sabji khane ke liye keh rahe ho? आप तो टीवी इतनी देर देखते हो और मुझे टीवी देखने से मना कर रहे हो. So they definitely challenge the way kind of we always said, okay, this is what needs to be done and you need to do this. And you will see this among these students in college also. Then also you will see there's a passion for learning. When I interact with students, the kind of multitasking they are doing, the kind of hobbies they want to pursue, the kind of fields they want to diversify, I actually get boggled with the kind of passion they express. They're doing something very serious. At the same time, they want to be a drummer, or they want to be in theater, or they want to be, into painting. So they have passion for learning. Only thing is that passion for learning is different from the way we saw as passion for learning. For us, passion for learning was like a horse having two covers on both the sides, focused on studies. 10 घंटे सिर्फ पढ़ना है और मेडिसिन पढ़नी है और कुछ नहीं पढ़ना है. So as a result, most of us have become very, very, introvert kind of people, just because those formative years when we had to learn social skills of dealing with people, interacting with people, networking with people, we spent all the time in studying. But these kids are very smart. They are multitasking all the time. They would do something on computer, they will be on phone, and then with Netflix on in front of them, and they are doing everything. And they are doing with lot of precision. Not that they are fooling us. They are doing with a lot of precision. Then they place a lot of importance on task rather than time. You will see they will work as per their clock, not as per our clock. They'll finish the work, they'll sit in the middle of night and they'll do. And next day it will be ready, but they will not stick to the timeline that we ask them to do. And then they value meaningful motivation. So to be a guru, to be a teacher, to be important in their life, to be a mentor in their life, I really need to have that meaningful motivation that I can offer. And I'll talk about it in a while. And then they place a lot of importance on relationship with superiors. So only thing is, very selectively, they will place us in that position where they look up to us for guidance. So do I have those skills? Do I have those abilities? Do I do the things that they should really look up to me? Am I really a good mentor? Am I mindful of my behavior? And I'm mindful of my character? So all that will decide whether they will really treat me as a parent or as a teacher or as a senior or as a mentor. Not just because I'm a parent or I'm a teacher or I'm positioned as an assistant professor or associate professor that they're going to respect me. But there's no doubt they place a lot of importance on relationship with superiors. And they're open and adaptive to change. They are really flexible. They're really, really flexible. So these are the 7 characteristics of the millennial. It's not me who is saying. It's not me who is saying, it is the studies that are saying that these are the characteristics of these millennials. As a result of this, you will see actually they are far more vocal. They answer, they question, something that we are not used to, something that we don't appreciate, something we always called as disobedience or disregard or as insubordination. Whereas if we look at the world, they say, Socrates said this thousands of years ago. Now we are realizing you cannot teach anything to anybody, but if you can make them think by asking intelligent questions, you can help them learn. So if they are vocal, I have to understand that's their characteristic. And that's not going to go away, like Google Guru is not going to go away. So that means I really need to be smarter than the Google. Can I be smarter than the Google? That's a question I need to ask myself. Also, I know as a result, they're far more independent. At very early age, they've set their targets. I don't think any one of us had actually clarity in deciding what career I want to pursue, what I want to be. Today, I get kids who say, I want to be a graphic designer. I want to be lawyer, and especially that in that category of lawyers. Somebody would come up to say, I want to be an animator and I want to join that particular institute to learn animation because that's the best organization. I'm sure at home your kids also must be talking the same language. And you must be really surprised from where is this child getting all the information. It's an era of information. They have a lot of information. So naturally, so when I talk to doctors, sometimes they say, we feel very upset when patients come and ask us a lot of questions. They have Google searched about their illness and they come and ask a lot of questions and they feel upset about it. I ask them, if they have an access to information, why will they not avail? Will you not avail access to information like if you have an access? Definitely. Today Zoom is available. Are we not using Zoom? GPS is available. Are we not using GPS? Internet is available. Are we not using? So why blame them for using it? Only thing is we got to see how we make them, use in a more sensible manner. They are tech savvy. They are multitaskers. Plus they are very particular about their privacy and space. If you go by Maslow's theory, have you heard of Maslow's theory? Has anybody heard of Maslow's theory? No?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am, I haven't.
Okay, I think Dr.
We have.
Pranay has heard. I'll briefly explain so that we all are on the same page. See, Maslow actually said all human behavior can be discussed in terms of needs. And if we talk about human needs, that's the theory Maslow gave, theory of human needs. It says that we all have different categories of needs, starting from the basic needs like food, sleep, house, and other things. Second one is security need. That means these things should be safe, continuous, available for me. The third order need is their social need. Then that means sense of belongingness, having people around who love me, who care for me. Fourth order need is self-esteem need, where I am respected as a team member, where I'm liked as a team member. And fifth order need is self-actualization need. These are the 5 order needs that we all experience. These kids, generation Z or millennials, they do not have the basic 2 levels of needs. They are already fulfilled. Rather, they are over fulfilled, over gratified. So the only way to motivate them, only way to connect with them, only way to bring them online is if you can work on the upper 3 needs. You may note down these 3 needs: social needs, self-esteem needs, and self-actualization need. Any idea what do we mean by self-actualization need?
Ma'am, it's basically, in very simple words, it's giving back to the society once you have acquired everything.
Thank you. That's a good understanding. Self-actualization is what is my best version? What can I do? Actualizing yourself. How many of you are on LinkedIn? Some of you and some of you not. You must join LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one, a professional platform where you get to see a lot of things that really it makes you surprised. There's a page called Humans of Bombay on LinkedIn. Karishma Mehta, 21 years old girl. Now she must be like 25 or something. At the age of 21 years, she created this platform called Humans of Bombay. You must read her story. You must read what she's doing. At the age of 25 years, she has millions of followers, making money, following her passion, enjoying her life, giving lectures to people like you and me, telling them what is the right way of leading life. So the whole status quo actually has got disturbed now. You like it or not, you enjoy it or not, that's your choice. We can choose to keep cribbing about the fact that these kids are nonsense. They don't listen, they don't have any discipline, they don't follow any timeline, they don't take bath, they don't eat properly, they eat only junk food. There is no, am I right? Am I right? Do you all agree with me? These are all your concerns at home and even at college time? I agree. I have 2 grown-up daughters. I have 2 grown-up daughters, so I can very well imagine your plight as parents, as teachers. But I can offer you a key to connect with them. I can tell you a way to connect with them. It's a key that I have learned, maybe the subject knowledge, or me being a parent, me being a counselor, or maybe the way I am like training myself and training everybody. And even I continuously keep attending programs to learn what will work now. So from that experience, I can share with you what will not work. First of all, note down what will not work. So please delete that style from your way of handling students and your children. 1, authoritative style of parenting and teaching will not work. Please delete. So note down, I'm going to delete all these things. 1 is anybody who is in habit of, being authoritative. Oh, I'm a teacher, you're supposed to be saying me good morning. Oh, I'm a teacher, you should be standing when I get up. You can ask all this, but respect is always commanded and not demanded. I can't say that you have to get up, but I have to be at a position where my students feel like getting up the moment they say me. So please delete being authoritative in your way of handling these kids. They will not open up. They will start avoiding you. They will start missing your classes. They will sit in the last bench where you cannot talk to them, where you cannot see them. When students in the class don't sit in the front seat, that's an indication that you have to work on building your relationship with your teacher, with your students. That's a clear feedback. And when students fight to sit in the front row, that's an indication that you have been an excellent teacher and you have been able to build rapport with your students. Building rapport is the most important step. If you have done that, rest everything will fall in place. Make connection, build connection with your students. So for that, first of all, what will not work, I'm sharing that so that you remember that these things you will have to slowly delete and get rid of. Authoritative style will not work. Second thing that will not work is negative way of encouraging. I remember as kids, whenever we did our best and came home with the report card, parents would say, इससे भी अच्छा कर सकते थे. तू पढ़ती नहीं है, ध्यान से पढ़ती तो इससे भी अच्छा करती. I mean, you go with so much of expectation that my mom will say, so good, so well done, very nice, keep doing. But let me tell you, if you will use this technique to encourage your students or your children, it won't work. So negative way or criticizing them will not work. Third thing, lot of instructions and corrections. The moment we see our children, तूने चप्पल क्यों नहीं पहनी हुई? तो आई नहाया क्यों नहीं? तेरे कपड़े देख तूने कैसे पहने हुए? अगर कोई अभी घर पे आ जाए कैसा लगेगा? तो अपना कमरा जाके देख कितना गंदा रखा हुआ है तूने. Is this the way to keep your students को भी जैसे वो हमारे सामने तो कहते हैं, you don't know how to come to college? Look at your dress. Look at the slipper you are wearing. Are you coming to the market or the college? I don't think you have even had bath for the last 2 days. I can smell you. If you are using this way of improving your kids, students, it won't work. Honestly, it will not work. Then, constant supervision and policing. Some of us think if I will be after their life, they will perform better. They'll find ways to fool you. So, put the locus of control in themselves, make them responsible. I'll talk about it, how do we do that? But in case if you are thinking of constantly supervising them, being after them, policing them, even with your kids, you try doing that, they'll find ways to fool you. So don't try doing that. Micromanaging their life. ये कौन है तेरा friend? ये कौन लड़की थी जिससे तू बात कर रहा था? ये कहाँ गया था तू? ये 2 घंटे तेरा फोन क्यों नहीं मिल रहा था? So when you are micromanaging their life, they'll say, sorry. Somebody said generation gap. I think one of you said generation gap. Any idea at what pace is the generation changing? Any idea?
Very rapidly.
With every decade.
3.5 years.
Oh my God.
Not even decade. 3.5 years. So students that you're handling today, 5 years down the line, you will be handling a very different set of students. So whatever you will learn will not be useful. Probably after 5 years, you will have to learn new ways of handling next generation. So the only way to make sure that you are on the top of your work is to keep updating yourself. Observe these kids, see how it will work. And I'm repeatedly saying it's not only here in the college, but even at home with your kids. You must be observing these things. And many of you may be struggling to build rapport with your kids or build connection with your kids. Same rules will help you in handling your own kids. Now coming to the second last point about working with students, what will work? If you want, you can make a note of it. First thing is, be friendly, not friends. So I'm not asking you to be friends with them. There has to be a clear line of, line between you as a teacher and a student, you as a parent as a child and a child. But being friendly will help them open up. So one day, if your student wants to talk about infatuation or about their sexual orientation or their sexual identity, they should feel like coming up to you and talking. A lot of kids I know in medical college are experiencing OCD, depression, anxiety, panic attacks. As a teacher, they should be able to come up to you and tell you, ma'am, I'm feeling anxiety. I'm not able to sleep, or I'm not able to eat, or I am not feeling well. That will only happen if you are there as a friend. Of course, I'm not asking you to become friends with them and discuss, like friends. But if you are friendly, you will appear to be approachable, somebody who will understand them. So that's the first rule of building rapport with them. Second, instead of being authoritative, be assertive. And I'm going to talk at length about assertion. Be assertive. Say things that you want to say in a firm manner, but not like a boss, not like somebody who will order. So in assertion, we say what we want to say, but we don't order things. We'll talk about it if time permits. Then third is set the code of conduct clearly. What is permissible, what is not permissible. Like if you see, we started this session, I gave you some reminders, technology reminders. That was my code of conduct for all of you. Some group rules and norms that we will all follow. That was again with the idea to create some decorum so that we all respect them. With students also, time and again, we will have to talk about code of conduct, not rules, code of conduct. And then the flip side is the same code of conduct we have to follow. If I say phones are not allowed in the class, I have to follow the same rule. If I say this particular way of dressing is not appropriate, I have to follow the same. Talking ill about people is not okay, or being aggressive is not okay. So I have to follow the rule. So I have to be a good role model, be it for my students, be it for my children at home. With them, it's good idea to tell them what to do and not how to do. You will find them more creative. Rather, they will be more, creative, much more than us actually. They'll come up with more ideas than we can think of. So just tell them that we have to do this. How? Let them brainstorm and come with a lot of ideas to you. Another important thing is respectful behavior. If you remember your college time, teachers called you tu and tum. Tu kyun nahi karti? Tu chali ja wahan pe. Even if you didn't like, you were okay with it. Am I right? हालांकि नहीं करते, पर कभी कभी कोई प्रोफेसर जो बहुत सीनियर होते हैं वो प्यार में अपना अधिकार समझ के कहते हैं और हम बुरा नहीं मानते. आज आप अपने 5 साल के बच्चे को भी तू करके बात करोगे ना, कह देते हैं मम्मी आप बात कैसे करें, तू करके क्यों बोल रहे हो मुझे. और आज हम उनके साथ कैसे बात करते हैं, बेटा आप ऐसे मत बोला करो, ऐसे अच्छा नहीं लगता आप. So these kids are very particular about their self-respect. So whenever you are talking to them, please remember you have to be respectful. They're grown up. जैसे मैंने कहा कि generation change बहुत जल्दी हो रहा है. You all are doctors. I'm sure you know it very well. Puberty has preponed. Yes, so adolescent also has preponed. Adolescence also has preponed. But that does not mean the adult or the maturing also has preponed. That's there. So they will take time longer to mature. So if we attained adolescence, say at 15, 16, maybe you all attained at 12, 13. Now I think it's at the age of 9 or 10. They are aware of all those things that we got to know at the age of 15, 16. So that means their adolescence has increased. The tenure has increased. Maturing would happen only at the same time. But their expectations to be treated as grown up come much earlier than otherwise. So when you're talking to them, don't treat them like student, treat them like individuals. So especially publicly when you're talking to them, never, 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 I'm repeating this 3 times, never, never, never reprimand them in public place. Never criticize them in public place in front of other students about their clothing, their appearance, the way they are talking. Even if you have noticed that this is something not acceptable, call that student, talk to that student one-on-one. It will be far more impactful, far more impactful. So make sure that you do not disrespect them publicly, because it really hurts them and then they will get distanced from you. They are very particular about their space and privacy. They may not like to share things with you at home and even in college. Respect that. Let them open up with you on their own. Give them that time and space. They'll come up to you. Then appreciation plays a big role in their life. Big role, big role. But it has to be an honest appreciation. So if I talk about appreciation, if you're fond of listening to TED Talks, so I was listening to this TED Talk a good 8-10 years ago, and it was really very enlightening to me, the power of appreciation. So in one of the corporates, they installed some 8 to 10 computers in one of the remote rural areas. And they appointed a computer teacher there. So the responsibility of the computer teacher, and what instruction was she given? She was given this instruction that you will not teach anything. You will not teach anything. Only thing is, whenever they do something with computer, maybe they switch on or they learn how to type, or they maneuver the PC. Is there electricity failure on your side?
Yes, ma'am.
But I hope the Wi-Fi is on, or no?
Hopefully it's working. Till now it's working.
I really hope so. It's okay if there's no electricity, but we need Wi-Fi. Okay, so as I was saying, so this teacher was given the instruction that you will not teach anything, but you will just encourage and appreciate them. Every time they do something right, just appreciate. In 6 months' time, this company who had installed, those who had installed these computers in one of the rural areas, they received an email. Dear sir, the computers that you have installed in our village or area, the RAM is very slow and small. Can you upgrade it? That's the power of appreciation. You don't have to teach them much more than them if you have been able to build rapport with them and stay connected with them. And they are there to learn. They have come with the desire to learn. They work so hard to be there. Only thing is, can I play the role of a catalyst? We normally become subject teachers. वो तो गूगल सर्च करके भी आ जाएगा, स्लाइड्स ढूंढेंगे उसमें भी आ जाएगा. But can you motivate them? Can you inspire them? Can you be a good role model? Can you show them how to lead life? I think this is what they are looking for. And when you give them honest appreciation and tell them about their good qualities, it goes a long way, long, long, long way. Because every time you appreciate them, they receive a kick of what?
Dopamine.
Yes, not just dopamine, lot of hormones.
Serotonin as well. Yes.
And once they receive that, once they enjoy that, they want to have it more. Ye dil mange more. They will repeat the same behavior. Once you appreciate them for their handwriting, their spoken skills, their writing skills, their way of handling things, whatever it is. There's a very beautiful book called 1 Minute Manager. I will share in the group. I will ask all of you to read it. The same rules are applicable in all spheres of life, even with these students. So the first rule is, the first rule is define the code of conduct. Second rule is, so the second rule that book talks about is find them doing something good. Anything, it could be their language, their appearance, their communication, their behavior, their being cordial, their being friendly, whatever. Everybody has some good qualities. Just focus and find what they are good at. Third is appreciate. That appreciation has to be honest. And fourth is, in case if you want to talk about something that is bothering you, please talk to them always one-on-one. Make it a rule in the classroom, in the corridor, in the staff room, in the open area. I will never reprimand any of my students. And you see how the whole environment will change. Never shame them publicly. There can be nothing worse than being shamed by anybody publicly. Just put yourself in that position and think. If your director calls you and shouts at you in front of others and tells you, you're not a good teacher, you don't manage your class well, your students were shouting and they're coming up to me and complaining about your behavior or your teaching, how will you like it? Yes, if you are called one-on-one and if somebody talks to you and tells you that this is what I'm getting to hear from the students, what do you have to say? Then probably you will be happy to talk about. So similarly, you have to make sure that you do not talk to them in that manner in an open area. Last point that I want to bring in here, types of students. So usually what happens, we have some 3-4 types of students. Can somebody tell me the kind of students you get to see?
The obedient ones.
Okay. Obedient
and then
ones.
the naughty ones.
Naughty ones, absolutely.
Then there is a very minute population which is downright disobedient, no matter what you say to them. It's always a small percentage. There is that.
Yeah.
And then sometimes there is this quirky talent kind of a thing. They are really good at something, but then in other spheres they might be struggling. So those are really the important people who we might have to identify and nurture them and protect them as well.
Absolutely. Any other understanding of the types of students you get to see?
The extrovert and the introvert, ma'am.
Yeah, there are some who are extrovert who would be very jovial, very fun-loving, who would talk to you, who will be very charming also. Absolutely. And there are a few who are very, very quiet. Absolutely. And introvert. They are introverts. What about others? Any other categorization from your understanding? Sir, unmute yourself. Dr. Pankaj, you are saying something. Please unmute.
Yeah, punctual and non-punctual.
Yes, there are some who will be very punctual. There are some who are non-punctual. I completely agree. And see, that punctuality part and unpunctuality part does not go even when we are grown up. So many of us, when we logged in, though we were supposed to log in much before 2 o'clock, because Dr. Uditi said, ma'am, आधा घंटा पहले आप on कर देना. I said, okay. So by 4 o'clock, I had logged in. Okay. 4 a.m. in the morning here in US. So, but many of us were here by 2:10, 2:15, because everybody thought कि पहले तो introduction चल रहा होगा, कोई बात नहीं. But we lose time on that front. Absolutely. Any other categorization by any other faculty? Ma'am, please unmute. Dr. Geeta, I think you're saying something. Unmute your device. Are you saying something?
Those who are interesting and those who are totally not interesting in anything like studies.
Those who are interested and those who are not interested. Absolutely. I think that's another case. So if I may simply, give you 3-4 categories that will help us in seeing how we have to handle them and what will work for them. So there is a set of students who are very charming. maybe they're very good, at speaking, they're very good looking, their language skills are good, their interpersonal skills are very good. They'll immediately become friendly with friends and with teachers, with everybody. They usually become teachers' pet. You will always like them because they're very forthcoming. They'll always be willing to, take responsibility and do things at a faster pace. So they would automatically, become your close and your favorite, and probably you will not have to work much to build rapport with them. Then there's a set of students who are very studious and very serious students. So automatically with them also you will connect very well because they are very, hardworking students, and you will have respect for them for their effort that they are making. So mostly with them also you get along very well. There's another set of students, I call them backbenchers, who would mostly go and sit at the back end. Usually, even if there are seats available, they'll prefer sitting in the back. In those backbenchers, there will be two types. One will be naughty and mischievous. Again, it will be easy to connect with the naughty and mischievous because ultimately with little, code of conduct and one-on-one interaction and helping them know what is the right way of behaving in the classroom, you will be able to connect with them. The problem will be with the one who are quiet and inconfident. And that's a challenge as a teacher for you to connect with these students. They are the one who will not be forthcoming, who will not be proactive. So you will have to make effort to connect with this set of students. A lot of them may be suffering with inferiority complex, coming from humble background. There can be language problem. There can be economic problem. There may be issues at the family front. There can be mental health issues also. Connecting with this set of students is a real challenge for all of you. And if you can build rapport with them, connect with them, and encourage them, support them, facilitate their learning, that will be the true role as a teacher you will be playing in their lives. And there's a way of doing it. Again, connect with them, talk to them, understand, call them one-on-one, find out what their challenges are, what help you can provide, how you can facilitate. It's just a matter of little time, because wherever attention goes, energy flows, things grow. The moment you will start paying attention to them, they will start improving. Not that you are going to cripple them and make them dependent on you. It's just a matter of little push that they will require. But real challenge is to work for this set of students. Otherwise, they'll come as backbencher, they'll go as backbencher. I think this is one thing I would always say. Of course, there are some students who are actually clueless and who are, lost in their world. You will see them coming and going in their own way. Same rules can help in making connection with them. And one thing I request, please keep an eye on the mental health of your students. Unfortunately, in any medical college, when a medical student or a medical graduate commits suicide, I feel very sorry for this profession. Right under your nose, there was a student who was suffering with depression, and you could not identify and help this child. And that's a failure on our part. So as a parent, as a teacher, it's our duty to keep an eye on the mental health of the student. So this is in a nutshell from my side about how do you go about communicating with this generation and what will work. Now, if you have any questions, we can quickly take and then otherwise move on to the next topic. Any questions about this? Is it very hot? I think probably where you're sitting, there's no fan.
No, it's okay, ma'am.
Sure. Because
Yes.
I know it's hot and there's no electricity, so.
It's okay, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
One thing.
Yeah, yes, please. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you, ma'am, you said backbenchers. Like my whole, when I studied, whole time I was backbencher. Because of the my height issue. When sometime I tried to sit in front of that, so some back student, everyone all knows in I'm not able to see. That's right. So after that, I usually to sit. That became in my habit to become a backbencher. But in my view, backbenchers more concentrate.
Dr. Pankaj, I'm very
And
happy
even
that
in my
you
class,
actually
I
did not
always
let that affect your performance. Being pushed to sit at in the last bench just because of your height, and you did not get that affect you and your performance. But you may be an exception. Look at the larger picture. Lot of students I see who come as backbenchers, they don't concentrate, they don't participate, they may be playing mischievous things at the end. They disturb the class also. And you as teachers, I'm sure you must be seeing that it's difficult to rein them, it's difficult to control them. But again, building one-on-one. See, if the student is serious, it's okay. Even if that student is backbencher, like you're saying in your case, you are backbencher, but you are still serious, it's okay. Then I don't need to work on you as a student. But if I can see that the student is a backbencher and is not performing well, is not participating, is not answering, is not doing things on time, that's the thing I need to focus on. That's the thing I need to work on. That's the whole idea of what I'm saying. Thank you for clarifying. Thank you. Yes, please.
Ma'am, I would like to share some of the experiences. Recently, some of us as a faculty has been appointed as warden for girls and boys hostel. So, ma'am, there has been a different kind of opportunity to interact with them and give them one-to-one time and in privacy, not scolding in front of whole class or whole batch. And we were following it, and it really does help to build the rapport. And we have come across the mental issues also, and we are simultaneously dealing and not exposing the things to others. And one-to-one and privacy is, I think, the great thing to build the rapport with the students.
And Natasha, you have actually brought in a beautiful point. These students will confine into you. They may talk about
Yes,
their
ma'am. I understand.
dysfunctional families. They may confine into you about their broken affair, or they may talk to you about their financial issues. It's very important as a teacher to keep that secret with you and not to share with the other faculty members.
Yes, ma'am.
Unless,
All these 3 points, we have encountered, and I'm
thank you so
pleased
much.
to.
At this point, I should have brought in respecting their confidentiality, because they shared their inner self with you with a lot of confidence that you will
Yes,
not
ma'am.
only help me, but you will keep my secret with you. And if I go
Yes,
and talk
ma'am.
to my friends and colleagues, अरे तेरे को पता है वो जो एक बच्चा वो जो लंबा साला टका है ना, उसके घर में ये प्रॉब्लम है, उसके घर में उसकी मदर का ये. I mean, when we talk like this, and everybody's opinion changes about that student.
Yes, ma'am. So confidentiality is very important, ma'am.
Very important. Thank you for bringing that point. Wonderful.
Thank you,
Thank you so much, Natasha. Anybody else who would like to share their experience or ask a question? I think there are a couple of questions in the chat. I can see how to start building the bridge. Sana, I think we'll talk about this. Not in the classroom, not here, but we'll talk about this. How to deal with naughty and mischievous backbenchers. Absolutely, Hemant. I think this is an important question. I would like to talk. So, what happens normally? Students who are naughty, either we reprimand them in the classroom and tell them, "तू हर वक्त बातें तू ही करता है, तू सबको डिस्टर्ब करता है, चल तू बाहर हो जा." So what I'm doing, I'm pointing out, calling their name, and also shaming them in front of anybody. So if I've identified that there's a student who's naughty and mischievous, I need to first of all talk to them, make them aware how they are disturbing your class. Then during the class, make more often eye contact with them. Ask them to come and sit in front, not as a punishment, but encourage them to come and sit in front row. Ask them more questions. Again, one-on-one, talk to them and give them feedback. Okay, I can see you improving. I can see you making. Also, sometimes 2 or 3 students, when they're together, they're more mischievous and more naughty. So if possible, you can ask them to sit separately during the class. Your friends, it's okay, but in the classroom, I'll say sit separately because it disturbs me. Keep an eye on them. not with the idea to shame them. Even with your eye contact, you should be able to communicate firmly what is accepted and what is not accepted. It's like putting a spotlight on them, not verbally, but with your eyes. Sometimes even going to the back bench and putting a hand on their shoulder and pressing it slightly. If you are a male teacher and a male student, please remember that thing we have to remember. And that also will help them understand that you are keeping an eye on them. And you will see changes happening in them. How to improve the performance of underconfident students. So again, first of all, understand what is the reason for their underperformance. If it is lack of skill, knowledge, you need to help them with that, whatever is the lacuna, work on that. Again, building rapport, paying attention, encouraging them, appreciating them, even if one step done better. If you can appreciate, give them a feeling of success and accomplishment, they'll start doing better. They'll start performing better. So if you have read that book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, it says 1% improvement brings 37% of change in 1 year. So if you start making 1% of investment in one student, 1 minute per student, especially those students who need your, your guidance, your mentoring, your interaction. Just connect with them even for 1 minute, you will see almost 35% change in them. And automatically they will also change on their own. Because once they see teacher is paying attention to me, that's such a pleasure moment that teacher is paying attention on me, attending to me. Just recollect your school time, college time. Which kind of teachers did you like? The one who were nice to you, the one who would talk to you, who would be little personal, who would be warm with you. Similarly, even if they are grown up, they're away from their parents, they're away from their family. And the way you are growing your kids, the way we grow our kids, that's how they have also been grown up. Pampered, looked after, nurtured, spoon-fed. Now suddenly they are in hostel, away from family, cold environment, nobody to talk. They are in a sea, looking for somebody to talk and be warm to them. It's a golden opportunity to.
May I share some of my experiences?
Sure.
Both as teacher and as warden. So
sure.
What I have realized works, especially for the backbenchers. One thing is I have seen, usually those who come late are also the backbenchers. So without punishing anyone or saying anything or shaming them, but whenever someone comes late and tries to go and sit at the back bench, then I tell them, please, there are seats in the front as well. Please sit here. And since you are requesting them, they can't deny it. So this might do one of the two things. Either they will at least sit in the front, or maybe from next time, if they still want to sit at back, they will come on time. So without giving any punishment, you will modify a little bit of their behavior. Second thing, jo ma'am aapne boli, that I try to exercise a lot. कि आप करके, even though they are students, but I try to call them आप, because this I have experienced personally as well, as you were saying, क्योंकि अब हम खुद भी बड़े हो गए हैं, but still if someone says, though they are senior, but अगर तू करके बात करते हैं तो it somehow pinches us. So I take that experience and make sure that doesn't go forward. I try to speak to them with respect in that manner. Third thing, what has worked is being a silent observer, not saying anything for little mistakes, but keep an eye on the quirky ones, the disobedient ones, and see if there is any pattern evolving. And if it is consistent, then maybe a one-on-one interaction becomes necessary. And another thing is, when you have said publicly to karna hi nahi hai, even one-on-one किसी को personally, until and unless it is very much required, one-on-one करने से better है कि सारे बच्चों को एक साथ बुला लिया जाए, and general code of conduct के form में वो चीजें बताई जाए, and the person who is not following it may understand that some message has been imparted to the person.
Not being pointed out, but then I am the one who is.
Yes,
absolutely.
yes. So
Wonderful.
these are some of the things that have worked as far as my experience of teacher in a very limited time that I have learned to be
wonderful.
At least a good teacher.
Thank you so much, Aditi. I think you really, added a cherry on the cake by talking about these points. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
So moving forward, okay, there's another question. Some students are attention seekers. They want attention from teachers. How to deal with them? Yes, there are some students who are attention seekers. Engaging them, giving them responsibility, and also in case if they are going beyond a point that is disturbing your setup, then again one-on-one you have to kind of remind them of the ground rules. But if their attention need is higher, they can be given opportunity to get more attention so that they feel happy in your class. But in case that's disturbing, then you really need to remind them of code of conduct, but one-on-one, not publicly. That's not desirable. Pointing out is also all right, that not in the class, but one-on-one. See, you sometimes are enthusiastic and over enthusiastic, so as a result I get distracted. So in case if you have something to talk, we can even talk after the class, but we have to maintain the decorum, and I think they will understand. But communication is not what you say, it is how you say. तुम हमेशा क्लास में मुझे तंग करते हो. I remember my daughter coming up to me and saying, "Mom, मुझे एक टीचर ने बोला कि you disturb the class by asking a lot of questions." With saying this to a student, what are you doing? If the student would not ask question, how will they clarify? But if you're shouting and telling, you're not only discouraging, but you're also asking them not to ask questions and not to speak. So maybe if you think there are a lot of questions, and it's only one student who is asking a lot of questions, you can say, okay, you meet me after the class, I can give you 15 minutes time. If you have questions to ask, I'll explain. But you can't shout at student and snub them. That's a very unhealthy way of doing it. Okay, so moving forward with the topic of communicating with your higher authorities and your colleagues, which is very, very important. So I must bring in here that we spend around 6 to 8 hours in our workplace. And if we look at your lifestyle, most of our productive hours we are spending at workplace. घर पर हम सिर्फ खाना खाने जाते हैं और सोने जाते हैं और बाकी घर के छोटे छोटे काम करने जाते हैं. सारे productive hours जो हैं वो हमारे workplace पर हम बिताते हैं. So our workplace is like our second home, and people with whom we are working is like our second family. But how many of us really, really care to nurture this place, to treat our colleagues with respect, with care, with love, with adjustment, with flexibility? A lot of time I see tug of war and cold war between faculty members. Nobody wins. Nobody wins as a result. Neither you are peaceful nor others are peaceful. And performance definitely gets affected. So very important to understand what is my way of communicating. See, we all communicate through different ways. Any idea what percentage is non-verbal communication? Any idea what percentage is non-verbal communication?
What I think it is more than 50%. 60 to 70% is non-verbal actually.
93% of the communication is non-verbal. Again, it's not me who is saying, studies. 55% is your body language, when you smile or you don't smile, when you're looking irritated, angry, or sarcastic. That is non-verbal. 38% of the communication is from your tone of voice, and only 7% is through your words. But words still have power. Very quickly, let's do a small activity. I need 5 participants to volunteer. Any 5, raise your hand, please. Any 5 to volunteer. Okay, Dr. Pankaj, who else? Okay, Dr. Uditi 2, Dr. Shivani 3. 2 लोग और फटाफट हाथ खड़ा करो भाई. Anybody? Yes, thank you, Dr. Archana. 4. एक ने और खड़ा करे हाथ. 5 लोग. It's an activity. कुछ ऐसा नहीं है, कोई punishment नहीं है. Okay, Dr. Hemant, very good. 5. So हम लोग बाकी लोग जो हैं हम अपना कैमरा ऑफ करेंगे, आपको सुनाई देगा, दिखाई देगा, but I just want those who are going to participate to keep their camera on. Rest can have their camera off. Thank you. So we are going to discuss the power of word. So imagine that we all are going to plan a picnic. We are going for a picnic. And we are discussing कि अच्छा चलो इस संडे पिकनिक जाना है तो कैसे करना है, क्या करना है. और जब भी आप बोलना शुरू करेंगे तो आपकी शुरुआत कैसे करेंगे? Yes, I am ready to go for the picnic, but. ठीक है? But. I think Natasha ने भी हाथ खड़ा करा था. Natasha, do you want to be part of the activity? Okay, so मैं शुरुआत करती हूँ. And then I will ask the next person to speak. So I'm speaking to Dr. Hemant. ठीक है? Hemant, I'm ready to go for the picnic, but I know, Hemant, I am okay to go for the picnic, but I have lot of work pending. Hemant, you have to now say.
I don't want to go. Excuses.
No, you have to say the same thing, but you have to give your own reason. But I am okay with the picnic, but.
I am ready to go for the picnic, but I have some other plans.
You have other plans. Okay, whom do you want next to speak?
Dr. Pankaj.
Okay, Dr. Pankaj. Unmute your device, sir.
I have to go to picnic, but I have to play with my daughter.
Okay, so you can't go because you want to play with your daughter. Very good. Okay, who should speak after you? Uditi, aap bolo next. What do you say?
Okay, I think picnic is a good idea. I would like to join, but I have multiple prior commitments, so it might be difficult for me.
कौन बोले आपके बाद में बोलो?
Dr. Shivani, would you like to join the picnic?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to go, but I have some family function to attend on the same dates.
Who should speak after you?
I'm Dr. Rachna.
I would definitely like to attend the picnic, but I need to help my son prepare for his exam, which is on the same day.
Understandable. Anji, Dr. Ritika, it's your turn now.
I would really like to go to picnic, but I have so many household tasks to finish, so I won't be able to.
Okay, thank you. We are going to have the second round of discussion, and we are going to replace this word but with and. I'll give an example and start the discussion. Dr. Hemant, I'm ready to go for the picnic and I'm going to get food for everyone.
Ma'am? Can you repeat, ma'am?
I'm ready to go for the picnic and I'll get food for everyone.
Okay, I'm ready to go for the picnic, but I will be a little bit late.
And you have to use and, not but.
And I will be a little bit late.
Okay. Whom do you want to speak? Pass on the baton.
Prarthana.
Okay.
I'll be definitely joining the picnic, and I think I'll get the disposable stuff like paper plates and all that we need for eatables.
Thank you so much. So, Dr. Ritika, what do you say?
I'll be definitely joining the picnic, and I think I'll be bringing my kids along, so they'll also enjoy.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Uditi, how about you?
Yeah, I would definitely join the picnic, and I think I'll bring some of the board games or some rackets and all.
That will be really fun. Excellent. Dr. Shivani, what do you say?
Yes, ma'am. I would definitely go to the picnic and will bring the music system so that we can all enjoy and dance as well.
Wow, great energy. Excellent. Dr. Pankaj. Unmute करिए, device unmute करिए अपना. Dr. Pankaj, please unmute your device.
Okay. I will go to the picnic and I will enjoy all the moments.
Wow, excellent, excellent. So if I may ask everybody to join in. Have your camera on. So what happened? What happened in the first round? And what is the difference in the second round?
Yeah. May I speak, ma'am?
Let observers speak.
Oh.
What do you say? Others who are observing?
The second round.
Yeah, Natasha, go ahead.
The second round brought a smile to my face.
So many times we use ifs and buts without any reason. A lot of us. The moment there is any discussion, we will bring some if and some but and just bring our but inside. And the moment I replace that word but with and, the complete energy changed. So check your words. Can you think of any one word that you think you use often and you think it's not a healthy one? Write in the chat box. One word that you use often and you think it's not a good word in discussion. But any other? Any other word? Postpone, yes. Thank you, Dr. Shivani. I think that's very honest submission. Not possible, absolutely. Urvashi, that's very often we say, that's not possible. I can't do it. It's difficult for me. We don't have resources. People are not ready. Nobody will welcome. Nobody will agree. People will not participate. कहते हैं ना बार बार. Next time when you are talking to your colleagues, check if you are using this negative language, you are actually destroying the energy of the place. Everything is possible. Everything is doable. There are so many ways. But when we start with no, then it takes longer to come to yes. So we have to be careful when you are choosing words to speak. Second thing is our tone of voice. It plays a big role. If somebody comes in, class में बच्चा आता है और हम कहते हैं आइए, और ऐसे ना बोलते हम कहते हैं आइए. Is there a difference? Lot of difference. Lot of difference. पहले वाले में क्या था और सेकंड वाले में क्या था?
First one is welcoming.
Sorry?
First one is welcoming. Second one is sarcastic.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm going to show you a slide. Give me a second to take up that slide. Yeah, this is the slide. Okay. Read this sentence with little emphasis on the word that is, highlighted. And do you see the meaning changing every time? Is it same or changed?
Changed, ma'am.
Absolutely. So this is what happens when we are talking to people, and if our tone of voice is not appropriate, a lot of time the meaning gets changed. We really need to make sure that the tone of voice matches with what we are saying. Roko mat, jane do. Roko mat jane do. The whole meaning changes. With students, with colleagues, we lot of time use tones that have undercurrent of sarcasm. We got to be really careful that some tones are absolutely not acceptable. When somebody is talking serious and we are talking in a casual manner or disinterested or unconcerned, inconfident, rude and authoritative or aggressive, that's not something that we are expected to be using with our colleagues. The appropriate tone of voice is when you sound sincere, responsible, soft, confident, and assertive. So if I may ask you, with colleagues, what errors normally we make when we are communicating with them? What are the kind of errors you have observed when we are interacting with our friends, with our colleagues?
We become more casual while talking to them.
Sometimes we are more casual. What about the professional decorum? And what about seniors talking to juniors? I'm sure there must be few who are, older and senior and experienced. They're talking to the juniors. A lot of time we consider them young and naive and inexperienced. Yes, please go ahead.
At times from the senior side, the bent of mind is that you are new in the trade. Maybe you don't understand what it means. And from the junior side, it is you are too old in the trade. You've been there for too long. You don't know the new things that have come up in.
Absolutely. Whereas both of them have a specialty. The older one has experience. The younger one has new ideas and energies. And if you combine both, it's a wonderful, wonderful combination. But you have to be able to, create that synergy where you work as a team rather than in competition with each other. Unfortunately, we get into competition with each other, and as a result, we actually sabotage each other's performance. That's the worst part. If I may ask you, your scores that you had, the questionnaire that I had given you, you have 4 scores. Have you all noted on 4 scores?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So there are 4 ways we deal with any situation where we don't agree with people or we don't like the way things are going on. The first way is called passive communication. What is passive communication? Where you withdraw from the situation, or you just quietly accept things because you don't want to assert, you don't want to say anything. But as a result, what will happen if you just stay passive and don't participate? What will happen?
The situation will not change, and it might even grow. You will allow the thing that you don't like to become more and more.
That will become a norm. Actually, that can become a norm of the life. Wonderful. What else will happen if you are pursuing or pushing anything in a passive manner? You're not saying anything, you are not giving your opinion, you are not giving your, even if you don't agree, you're not even coming out honestly that I don't agree with this. Sorry?
You will be forced to accept what is
One second, I think Dr. Pankaj is saying something one by one. Dr. Pankaj, yes, please go ahead, but you are not audible. Go ahead, please.
There will be no appreciation and progression.
Absolutely. There cannot be any action because then people are going to pursue the things in their own manner. Absolutely. Yes, Dr. Urvashi, you were saying something.
Ma'am, we'll be forced to accept something which we don't believe in.
Absolutely.
And then we slightly start losing the interest in the thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you are not speaking, if you're not participating, if you're not sharing your thoughts, you're going to be taken for granted. Your wills and wish will not be, your will and wish will not be respected, will not be honored. Nobody will care for you because you have not spoken for yourself. There's a risk of exploitation. A lot of time when you say things like this, I don't know, it's okay, you decide, I will go with whatever you say, and you don't open your heart, you open your mind, that's the time when there's a risk of being exploited. So Your first score is your passive communication score. So if you may write all 4 scores with a comma in between in the chat box, that will be really nice. Please write your all 4 scores in the chat box with a comma in between. I can see only 4 scores. 4 of you have put in. Dr. Archana, one is missing. Second one is missing.
Yes, I missed one of the scores. Sorry.
Okay, so everybody is done, or some more to go? So your first score is your passive communication style score. When you actually don't take any stand, you don't speak for yourself, you just quietly agree or accept whatever everybody is saying. Your second score is your passive aggressive communication style score. Now, what is passive aggressive? Passive aggressive is when you don't say anything upfront, but at the back of your, in the absence of that person, you talk ill about that person. Or you behave passively to the people's face, but then aggressively when they are not around. Also, where you will not use your rights to express your thoughts and feelings, but later on you will manipulate things and work out of vengeance. That is passive aggressive, because in front you did not say anything, but you are carrying that anger and aggression with you. Again, if you are using this style of communication, what do you think will be the loss or the disadvantage? If somebody is in workplace, we see a lot of time this style of communication. Do you agree with me?
Yes, ma'am, there is no conflict resolution when this style of communication.
Obviously, because it's a Cold War kind of a situation, there will not be clear-cut issues that you need to address. There will be kind of general disagreement and not willingness to cooperate. People will sabotage each other's work. They will undermine. They will not give their 100%. So naturally, again, the performance and the progression will get affected. So your second score is your passive-aggressive communication style score. Your third score is your aggressive communication style score. Now, what is aggressive communication? What do we mean by aggressive communication? So in aggressive communication style, you are more likely to fight for your rights, be more aggressive. So using anger, intimidation, foul language, foul body language, foul way of communicating, you would like to win and control the situation. So you will see a lot of people who are in position of authority or senior, at times they use anger and aggression to control situation or to handle situation. Your third score is your aggressive communication style score. Your fourth score is your assertive communication style. Now, what is assertive communication? What is assertive communication? In assertive communication, yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
You put forward what you clearly are agreeing or not agreeing with, but in such a manner that it is still respectful to everyone.
Absolutely. So that means you are not hurting the other person, but you are clearly saying what you want to say without being judgmental or without being rude or intimidating. In a workplace, it's very important to be honest about what you think or feel, but that has to be said in a respectful manner so that it doesn't cause hurt and damage, but your thoughts and feelings are expressed in an honest manner. Again, this requires a lot of good communication skills. It requires a lot of control on the language, on the tone of voice, and the body language. When you're communicating with your seniors or with your colleagues, assertion is the right way of communicating, where the idea is not to argue or fight or to prove a point, but the idea is where you express yourself in an honest manner. When you use assertion, that's where you feel comfortable that, okay, this is what I wanted to say and I said this. In the next session, when we will talk about conflict resolution, we will talk at length about these 4 styles. But just to tell you, your 4th score is your assertive communication style. I can see some of you have put in 3 scores. I don't know, these are not making sense to me. Please take this questionnaire once again. I request all of you to take this questionnaire once again, especially those who are not sure of what they have, why they have given 3 scores and where's the 4th one. But if I may quickly look at some of your scores, for example, Dr. Urvashi, if I look at your scores, good news is that your highest score is your assertive communication score. But the highest score is your dominant communication style, but the second highest will come in play in any difficult situation. So you may be using them alternatively. So Urvashi, if I look at your scores, 15, 7, 9, 16. So 16 is your assertive communication, which is very good, but 15 is very close by. So in case when assertion will not work for you, you will go into passive communication. Do you agree with your scores?
Yes, ma'am.
Similarly, Ritika, in your case also, your scores are 15, 7, 6, 17. Again, you will try assertion. In case assertion does not work, you will move to passive communication. Okay, interesting scores are of Dr. Pankaj Kumar. So Dr. Pankaj Kumar, your scores are 10, 16, 18, 20. Again, highest score is assertion. That means you try assertion in most of the situations. But in case if that does not work, you are likely to move on to aggression and also passive aggression and not passive communication. Do you agree with your scores? So these are the answers given by you. Based on that, these are the scores. So quite possible that you will be using all 3 ways depending upon the situation and the person you are communicating with. Similarly, if I look at Dr. Ishani's scores, Dr. Ishani, 14 is low on assertion. So that means you are using all 4 styles intermittently, depending upon the situation, depending upon the person, depending upon what you are handling. So you are using all 4 of them intermittently. Dr. Diti, in your case also, assertion is not very high, 16, but it's highest score. Second highest is 15. Again, it's very close to 15 and 16. So that means you prefer using assertion. If that does not work, then you move on to aggression. Do you agree with your scores?
Ma'am, for me, assertion, what I felt, assertion is there. I personally, I think I move to passive, but if I have to still be in the situation, I would choose to be passive. But if I have to still continue and the assertion is not working, then I may move on to the aggressive.
Exactly. So don't worry, we will discuss these things in detail. I have a beautiful presentation to share with you, but I will not hold you longer than this. It's already what time it is? 4 o'clock? 4 or 5?
Yes,
4 or 5.
4
So we will discuss this at length in our second session, and that will be on conflict resolution. So these are interlinked. So how do you really, resolve conflict, and then what is the right way of resolving a conflict? We can discuss that at length in our next session. So any questions as of now?
Ma'am, how to deal with the aggressive behavior of a colleague? It will be answered in next session. I hope so.
Next class we'll be discussing at length. We will be discussing then how do you, and we will have a role play also around it.
Sure.
So my only request to all of you is please join on time so that we can make use of time. For this class, I had planned role play, but then we have already lost 20 minutes in the beginning. So it wouldn't be fair to hold you beyond this. Otherwise, I was thinking of doing a role play with all of you. But don't worry, we'll do it in the next class. Please join on time when we meet next. I think we'll be meeting on Thursday. Dr. Ujiti,
yes,
am I right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We'll be meeting on Thursday. So I request
some of
everyone,
us might be on Thursday and some might be on Monday, next Monday, because the groups are not same. They are different for each batch. So
if possible, I would request you to keep the same group if possible. In case if it is not, then it's something I can't come in. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I'll convey the message. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but whatever I've covered with them and whatever is remaining, I'll be covering in the next class. So very quickly, one small activity before we end. And for that, I want to put 5 of you in the waiting room, and I will be getting you back one by one before we close. So I am not picking anybody, but I'm just, whoever name is coming, first I'm sending you. Dr. Archana, I'm sending you to the waiting room. Dr. Geeta, I'm sending you to the waiting room. Okay. Then Dr. Pankaj, Dr. Pranay. Dr. Pranay, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm sending you to the waiting room. Then 1 second. Dr. Ishani, I'm sending you to the waiting room. And one more person. Okay. Dr. Hemant, I'm putting you in the waiting room. Okay. So I need one person now from the group. Okay, I will take Shivani. So I'm going to show you a message, Dr. Shivani. You have to read it. Others will also be able to see it. Just read it to yourself. And once you're ready, just let me know. Is that okay?
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
I'm going to share you. Okay. So you can read this paragraph to yourself, and others also can read this. And tell me when you're ready. So are you ready, Dr. Shivani?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm ready.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to add one person from the waiting room. Whatever you have understood, you have to explain or tell in your words.
Ma'am,
So
do I need to tell them about the message or my work, what I have done during the 6 months?
No, the message.
The message. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm admitting Dr. Geeta. Whatever you have understood, you have to explain to her. Let me explain, give instructions to Dr.
Okay,
Geeta.
ma'am.
So Dr. Geeta, if you could please have your camera on. Dr. Geeta, are you there?
Ma'am, due to network fluctuation, I was totally absent. Sorry, ma'am.
No, it's okay, but can you have your camera on?
Yeah, ma'am.
Thank you. So Dr. Shivani has a set of information she's going to share with you. Please listen to her carefully. Dr. Shivani, please explain in your words.
Yeah, Geeta ma'am, so there was a message from a director, sir, that the work which you have done in the past 6 months, you have to bring it along with you, along with the proper details, what you have done in the 6 months, in the past 6 months. So this is important for the future plan up or the future growth.
Okay.
Was I audible, Geeta ma'am?
Dr. Geeta, unmute your device.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Is that okay, Dr. Geeta?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm admitting the next person, and whatever you have understood, you have to explain in your words to Dr. Pranay. I'm admitting him. So Dr. Shivani, from here on, Dr. Geeta will take it forward. So Dr. Pranay, can you please have your camera on? Dr. Pranay, are you there? Yeah, thank you. Dr. Pranay, Dr. Geeta has a set of information she's going to share with you. Please listen to her carefully.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon. Am I audible,
Good
sir?
afternoon. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, our director, respected Dr. Gupta sir, has told to bring you whatever you have done in your last 6 months. You have to bring all that in front of the sir. And yes,
Dr.
sir.
Geeta, I think what you can do, Dr. Geeta, if you
Yes,
switch off your video, I think your audio quality will improve. For a minute, you can close your video. Yeah, speak.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Definitely. Clearly.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Sir, our director, respected Dr. Gupta sir, has asked to come to his room and bring up all your work which you have done in last 6 months of your profession, sir. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. That would be done, ma'am. Thank you.
So, Dr. Pranay, did you understand or you want to be explained once again?
No, ma'am. That's very clear.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. So now I am admitting the next person, and that's Dr. Ishani. Whatever you have understood, you have to explain to Dr. Ishani.
Okay, ma'am.
Dr. Ishani, Dr. Pranay has a set of information he wants to share with you. Please listen to him carefully.
Hello, Ishani, ma'am.
Hello, sir.
Clearly audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so ma'am, our director, sir, Dr. Shakti Gupta, has asked you to bring a record of all the things that you have done, or the official work you have done over the last 6 months.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, you have to produce that in front of him.
Sir, right now or tomorrow?
He hasn't communicated anything regarding that. He just told me to convey the message that Dr. Shivani asked Dr. Shivani to, Ishani to bring all the work that she has done over the past 6 months to his cabinet.
Okay, sir, I will do that.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Ishani, whatever you have understood, I request you to explain to Dr. Hemant. So,
Ma'am, do I need to pass the same information what Dr.
Yeah,
Pranay?
whatever you have understood, you have to pass that information to. Okay, Dr. Hemant. Dr. Ishani has a set of information she's going to share with you. Please listen to her carefully.
Yes, ma'am.
Hemant, sir? Dr. Shakti, our director sir, had called me and he had informed me that tell Dr. Hemant to produce all the documents or all the work he has done in past 6 months.
What happened, Dr. Hemant?
Yes, ma'am.
Hemant sir, am I audible?
Ma'am, can you repeat, please?
Hemant sir, Dr. Shakti, our director sir, had called me and he has told me that tell Hemant to get all his work he has done in the past 6 months.
Okay.
डॉक्टर हेमंत समझ आ गया?
हाँ मैम।
क्या समझ आया?
मैम सर ने बोला है कि मैंने पास 6 मंथ में जो भी काम किया है सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स और जो भी काम किया वो सब
हेमंत को लेकर आना है ना?
डॉक्यूमेंट्स। हाँ
हेमंत को लेकर आना है, यही समझ आया ना?
नहीं मैम।
So you have to take all your work, whatever you have done in 6 months.
ओके मैम।
यही समझ आया, कुछ और समझ आया?
मैं यही बोला कि whatever you have done in past 6 months, all your documents.
डॉक्टर शिवानी, क्या मैसेज था?
Ma'am, it was that Dr. Shakti has called me and he has told me to convey to Dr. Hemant that whatever he has done in past 6 months, he has to get it to me.
नहीं नहीं, पहला मैसेज तो डॉक्टर शिवानी ने पढ़ा था।
Yes ma'am, yes ma'am. The message was by the director sir to bring all the projects or all the work which you have done in your department from the last 6 months. So there was a meeting with the sir in which he has asked everyone to bring the work which he or she has done in the last 6 months.
क्या हुआ पूरी डिस्कशन में? Those who were observing.
Actually, it was an urgent meeting.
The message,
the whole message got distorted.
Got lost.
Yes, yes.
और बाद में डॉक्टर हेमंत इतना घबरा गए कि मेरा ही क्यों नाम कि और किसी को क्यों नहीं बोला जा रहा। और डॉक्टर की शादी तो बिल्कुल रेडी हो गई कि अच्छा मुझे लेकर जाना है, आज ही लेकर जाना है, कल लेकर जाना है। When you do not communicate directly, this is what happens.
Yes. Yes.
And how it can affect each other कि पता नहीं मेरे से क्या हुआ है, क्या गलती हुई है जो मुझे इसके लिए। Do you want to see what was the actual message, Dr. Hemant? Do you want to see?
Yeah, ma'am, please.
This was the message.
This is a urgent meeting flag for you.
All are requested to be present. Everybody has to bring their work. सिर्फ हेमंत को नहीं लाना है, सभी को लाना है।
मुझे ही बस।
हाँ, सबको अपना काम लेकर जाना है, उसके बेसिस पे फ्यूचर असाइनमेंट हमारे डिसाइड होंगे। We have to take it seriously and give details of all the work that we have done in the 6 months and see how the message got distorted. Selective listening, selective interpretation, selective forgetting, omission, commission. These are very common errors that happen when we are communicating with our colleagues. So it's very important to speak one-on-one. Tell them what exactly is the message. Clarify, check. Lot of arguments and ill wills create because of wrong communication or incomplete communication. So with this message, I want to close it here. The importance of the direct communication, face-to communication, and we'll discuss assertion as a skill in our next section, and then also have role play around it before we discuss conflict resolution. Any questions about it? Whatever we have discussed till now. जब कोई प्रश्न नहीं होता तो दो बातें होती हैं.
One thing I would like to add, ma'am. Actually, based on my previous experience, usually I call I remember my student's name and call by them his or her name. Nowadays, teachers doesn't know the name of the student and they call very casually. That doesn't give the actual impression of being as a teacher.
Absolutely.
So it should be, you should remember the name.
Therefore, during this session, I requested everybody to have their name visible on their screen. It makes me so much of comfortable with you. And you also know I'm calling by your name. So you feel immediately connected with me.
Yes.
And I can see all of you participating so well just because we know each other's name and we are trying to interact. I mean, I know you have this feeling that we are doing it on Zoom. I have a feeling that we are in a classroom and we are all discussing and sitting in front of each other and talking, isn't it? Except
Yes,
the
ma'am.
bit of technological, glitches. But otherwise, I think it's. I mean, we are connecting so well. So same way in the classroom, and this habit actually also gets reflected when you work with your patients. You will usually forget the name of the patient. What will you call? Bed number 6. वो ICU पे जो 7 नंबर पर पेशेंट है वो पेशेंट है ना. फिर वो जो अपेंडिसाइटिस वाला पेशेंट है वो पेशेंट, वो जिसके वो एम्पुटेशन हुआ है वो वाला पेशेंट. सो वी कॉल द पेशेंट बाय बेड नंबर, रूम नंबर और देयर डायग्नोसिस और ट्रीटमेंट. We just completely get away with the identity of the person, whereas name is the most closest identity to anyone. And I think this practice starts right from the classroom. Thank you for bringing that, Dr. Pankaj. Good input.
Yes.
Any question or any other point that somebody wants to add or say or ask, please feel free.
Ma'am, one thing is that you gave us this really good example of how the actual urgent communication gets lost during the transmission. But how to ensure that doesn't happen, because I feel it is happening a lot. Because the workplace is such that you have to communicate with so many people, and somehow the message that we receive is really not what it was supposed to be. It happens a lot. So how can we actually do anything about it?
Uditi is keeping an eye on me that she has not completed this task. I thank you and I congratulate you for this. One, when somebody is speaking, it is not the responsibility of the speaker to speak. It is the responsibility of the listener also to listen attentively. First one. So give 100% attention when somebody is speaking to you. Do not indulge into multitasking. Listen attentively, one. Second, make points. We forget 80% of what we discuss within 24 hours. If you make points, you will remember, okay, this is the point I have discussed. Third, very important, ask questions if you think you have not understood. Don't hesitate asking questions. It is better to be considered fool by asking questions rather than being a fool by not asking a question. And fourth, very important, is using teach back as a way to confirm whether the person has understood or not. For example, the person who was giving the handover, handover is considered Bermuda Triangle of healthcare. We are losing 60 to 70% of the information because of ineffective handover of the patient. When the patient is transferred from one care area to another. Similarly, between us, when we are talking, if I'm saying you something, and if you say, yes, I have understood, and if I ask you, tell me in your words, what have you understood? And that technique is called teach back. If the person is able to repeat exactly what you have said, that means the communication is complete. And in case if there is some incomplete information, you have a scope to correct. No, it's for everybody, not just for you. For everybody. All of us have to go, even I have to go with my details. It's not pointing out just to you, but to all of us. So you are clarifying. So closing by teach back and summarizing is very important if you want the information to not get lost. Make it a habit to write your points, always a copy and a pen. Even when I have this writer's cramp, I'm keeping a board and a pen in my hand. In case if I have to say something, I would immediately write, remember that I have to talk about this. That's the way to close the loop. Thank you so much, Uditi. That was a very smart question.
And actually, I will remember this for my life, teach back, because I have realized that we convey, personally, I can say that I have conveyed, and I presume that the person will convey the same thing. And teach back is one thing that I will
Chinese
now
whisper that
exercise.
we did just now.
Yes, ma'am.
You saw
Yes,
the
ma'am.
distortion of message.
Yes,
Ultimately,
and
Dr. Hemant lost his. He was so
yes,
he was so anxious. I had a feeling that he was really very worried. Why am I only being pointed out? Why should I be only going? Isn't it, Dr. Hemant? Or you could guess that it is an activity. Thank you. Any other question or comment or feedback, anything?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to talk about the teach back technique which you just told. Basically, this is an important technique which I usually use in that during the teaching techniques. What I teach them, I usually ask them in a nutshell what I have taught you to see whether they have gained something or they are listening or they were not listening. So it gives a better feedback from the students.
Absolutely. So now the last task will be in the chat box, write your one takeaway from this session. That's feedback. Write your one takeaway from this session. Something that was really a high point for you. Something that you really, really liked. Write your one takeaway. Teach back and summarize. Absolutely. Thank you.
Ma'am, meanwhile, there is one request for the upcoming session. If you could focus a little bit on how to be as a this is pertaining to female population, because I have felt that assertion may be taken as something else when you're female. Either you have to become a little aggressive to put forward your point, or you will not be taken seriously just by assertion. This is something that I've experienced a little bit in the workplace environment, and how to deal with this kind of situation when it is experienced.
So once we will talk about assertion, I think you'll have a lot of clarity on how is it different from aggression. If you will have that clarity, you will know where to draw a line. That is one thing. And then definitely, as long as you maintain the decorum and stick to your point, it is not, because what you're saying, I am asserting, but others are thinking that I am aggressive. That's their point of view of looking at you, because they feel that assertion is also aggression.
For females especially, I feel that just when you are assertive, it is characterized differently a little bit.
I know it's perceived differently, because that's what's not expected from them. But we can definitely talk about this in the next class. Definitely.
Thank you.
So I can see some of the feedbacks coming, positive approach towards students and continuous encouragement. I think that's a wonderful change if that comes to your mind. Dr. Ishani says, teach back and role of positive words in your communication. Absolutely, that's a wonderful takeaway. Being assertive, asking question, and to be a fool rather than being a fool by not asking a question. I think Urushi, you really picked up my point. Thank you. And that's what I believe in. I say, if I don't know anything, what is wrong in saying I don't know? Suppose if you ask me something now also, and if I don't know, I'll be very honest in telling you, I'm really sorry, Urushi, I don't know. Let me check and cut back to you. Because we are human beings, we are not gods that we will have all the knowledge. What is bad in telling I don't know, or I'll check and get back to you? As teachers also, I think we have to get into this habit of admitting that I don't know, because information is multiplying at such a fast pace, you cannot keep pace with it. Things are changing at such a fast pace, you cannot keep pace with it. So why not be honest and say, I really don't know, I need to check and get back. Let me check. Next day, you start your class with the point, okay, you had asked me about it, I read about it, and this is what you may answer. They'll respect you for you being aware that, okay, you promised something that you have to take. Absolutely. So I'm getting wonderful takeaways from everyone. Teach back and summarize, honest appreciation, power of appreciation. We should not hesitate to ask questions. Absolutely, I agree. Then not being authoritative and using motivation. Absolutely, Ritika. I think very important. Delete authority, authoritative style of handling students and children. If you really want to build rapport with them. Then always speak your mind without disregard of the person dealing with it. No, it's again, you should speak your mind, but again, in the right manner. So if you are putting in the wrong manner, you are likely to lose the battle. Communication is not what you say, it is how you say. So manner is equally important, and we'll be talking about it in the next class. So you will get more. So be assertive, and that's what Dr. Anand says. Absolutely, I agree. Then appreciation is one of the greatest tools to encourage. I completely agree with it. I think if you can stick to this, nothing like it. That's really, really wonderful. Thank you so much. So that means there has been some learning, some takeaway, and this all through your discussion. I have just played the role of a catalyst. You all have created this information and knowledge and understanding. Thank you so much for participating with so much of enthusiasm. I thoroughly enjoyed being with all of you.
Same here, ma'am.
Thank you so much,
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It was really informative. And I think every one of us have learned something and have picked up a few things that we can improve upon.
Thank you so much.
And more importantly, we enjoyed the sessions, ma'am.
Definitely.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is another message to all of you. If you want to engage your students, you will have to really work on your pedagogy. Training, teaching pedagogies have completely changed. Lecture sessions are completely out of date. And you cannot teach everything, but if you can motivate your students to learn, ask intelligent questions so that they go home, read and come back, because they know Urvashi ma'am is going to ask this, Pankaj sir is going to ask this, or Geeta ma'am is going to ask this. So they will study and come back. Then your burden also will get reduced. And when everybody speaks, your points are covered. You don't have to speak those points. They're looked after. But making your session engaging, interesting is very, very, and that's a challenge as a teacher for all of you, which you must work on. Thank you, Dr. Pankaj. Again, a good input. Thank you once again.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful interacting with you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So should we close the session here?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my goodness, there is echo.
Thank you so much.